My wife kissed her boss. So I asked her to quit the job, and I found out she loves him. I found this Reddit post and it gets really crazy, so be sure to watch till the end. It all started a few months ago. My wife, F40, told me, M39, that her boss is madly in love with her. My wife and I laughed about it. We joked about it. Me saying, "That's a great compliment. Good for you. Just be careful." I knew they were good friends, and I trusted my wife 110%. Fast forward a few weeks later, her boss called her at night, 9 p.m. I said, "Just pick up. Maybe it's important." She didn't, and reacted overly. "No, I'm here with you." She opened her messages and was trying to delete a message. This is the moment I grabbed the phone and read the messages. She was furious, accusing me of breaching her privacy and such. This is when I saw it. Messages from him saying, "I miss you," and hearts being sent back and forth. She lied that they were just friends. And as I know, he is in love with her. So according to her, nothing to worry about. I made her swear on our children that they did not kiss. And there it was. Silence. She admitted it. And days later, I heard, after asking for it, more and more details. They kissed multiple times. He kissed her multiple times on the neck and hugged her for long periods. No sex. I think I believe that part. You have to know, my wife is very insecure about work. She has only had jobs for 1 to 2 years. And finally, she landed this job where everything was great. So, I was very supportive in every way. I started working less so I could be there for our 3 children, and she could work more, etc. The most important thing, she genuinely loves the job. I can tell. So we came to a consensus to continue working there. It's a very small company, but phew, I found it difficult. I started to look over her shoulder at what he was messaging and such. Not a great place to be. And then it all went south. We went on a family trip, just the kids and us. And in hindsight, she texted him back and forth every single day. Him texting things like, "I wish I knew you earlier," etc. She was so distracted the whole holiday, even though she reacted a bit cold to him. Directly after the holiday, we agreed that she can only continue to work there if they can keep in professional only and have no 1.1 contact in the weekends or after 7 p.m. With this agreement, I felt a bit better. And now, this weekend, I found out that they are calling every day, Saturday and Sunday, behind my back. She said they are sharing feelings because she feels safe with him, not with me, and he understands me. She also said she has certain feelings for him. Now, 2 weeks ago, I'm done with it, and I asked her to quit seeing him completely and thus stop her job, or it's me quitting our relationship because I can't handle it anymore. The lying, etc. She is furious at me, saying that I want to put her in a cage. And what kind of monster am I to decide which friends she has? For clarity, I never made her stop a friendship until now. Also, she thinks I will take the children away from her completely. Obviously, I won't, and will ruin her financially. I won't. Am I really a monster for asking her to quit the contact with her boss, and in her words, a very good friend, and giving the ultimatum? I don't know it anymore. And the 2 friends I told the story are biased, so I really need your opinions. Thanks. Edit 1. Thanks for all your support. It's also hurting me, some of the messages. I feel so dumb, but I'm happy with all the reactions too. I should have asked earlier. Thanks also for the genuine empathic messages. Edit 2. I just told her might be divorcing her. I'm an emotional wreck now, so sorry if I'm not so responsive the coming hours. Story 2. His mistress made him a better husband. I feel nauseous. This one has a crazy end. This is a throwaway. I'm just nauseous and want to vent. Please let me do it here. Everything changed about 3 years ago, and my husband became my dream man. Before that, we suffered a lot in our marriage. After 2 hard pregnancies and PPD, my libido was diminished, and we fought all the time. After 4 years of dead bedroom, we started therapy. I thought that was where the improvement came from. My husband started paying attention to me. In the beginning, I was panicking because whenever he paid me attention before he expected sex, but now it felt like he was seeing me as a human being for the first time. He was attentive and caring, emphatic. He touched and cuddled and kissed me out of the blue without wanting sex in return. He started helping around the house, bringing me flowers, take out dinners when I work late, planning date nights. Anniversaries, birthdays, and holidays are planned perfectly, and I started getting the most beautiful and thoughtful gifts. When we fought, he would come the next day and admitted his wrongs, and very accurately, if he was the one in the wrong, something he never did before. He would apologize too, when back in the days him apologizing would be a blow to his ego. He said he was happy all the time and lucky to have us as his family. Everything was better, and I even got my libido back, if not as high as I hoped. I found their conversation about 5 days ago, and I have probably spent over 50 hours reading them. 3 years worth of conversation. He would tell her his woes, and she would listen. 99 out of 100 times she sided with me. She taught him about intimacy, and how important it is in marriages. The tragically funny part is that he never got angry or offended by her telling him off, calling him silly, stubborn, or at times, man baby. Her honesty was brutal, and yet he agreed with her. She was the one suggesting all the changes, and he would ask her for advice about gifts, traveling, and all the beautiful things he did for our family. He thanks her all the time for helping him turn his miserable home life around, making it tolerable. With all these texts, there were the texts between them that are about them like nobody else existed around them. The flirting, sex talk, and pictures, the longing to see each other. He says she is the love of his life every day, and that he wishes their circumstances were different. She says the same. They both agree that divorce would ruin their families, and that they couldn't be that selfish. How admirable. I feel nauseous. My happiness for the past 3 years was fake. I don't know what to do. I want to hurt them. I want to expose them, and I want to ruin whatever they think is perfect happiness. Hi, I'm getting chat requests about my comments not being visible. Is this normal? I'm trying to answer you guys. Sorry. Hi again. Since I can't comment and I can't answer all the chats, I will answer here. I am 35. My husband is 39. We have 2 children, 9 and 7. She is 40, and she has 1 child, 14. She is in a dead bedroom with her husband too, and for 14 years. The affair is physical too, yes, but they meet maybe once every month or every other month. She tells my husband that what they feel is probably limerence, but that they don't know it yet, because they meet so little. She lives in another city. Relevant comments. So basically your cheating ex is trying to blame you for him cheating. The delusion of cheaters. You only informed the mistress's husband that she couldn't keep her legs closed to a cold breeze. He had a right to know. Onwards and upwards. Update me. OP. He didn't blame me for anything. He doesn't care that he cheated. He was only angry that her husband hurt her and her child. Maybe my post was this convoluted that everyone here is thinking he is trying to put the blame in me. He doesn't care at all. He just thought that I should have confronted him instead because he was the one who cheated on me. I told everyone around us what he'd done and he doesn't even care. Update. My husband left me after I told his mistress's husband about their affair. March 19th, 2024. I was here some weeks ago with my original post. I finally decided that I really should reach out to the husband of my husband's mistress. I found him easily, and I contacted him. He didn't believe me at first, and was rude about it, and told me to go for myself. I hesitated to contact him again, to be honest, but after a few days, I realized that I would too not believe a stranger just popping in my DMs accusing my so of cheating. So I recorded my husband's phone with my phone, especially the messages where she sent explicit photos and stuff. I also went to the contact to show the number. He didn't answer me the first day, then he called me the C word and blocked me. I thought, well then, I have done my part and it's on him if he believed me or not. Then after a week, my husband came home angry and he yelled at me for exposing them. He asked me why I didn't confront him instead. My problem was with him. I have never seen him yell like this. Then he packed a bag and left for about a week. I think he's traveled to her. When he got home, he said that it was over. He said that he has been trying to make me happy for years, and he's done everything a good husband would do. But still, nothing was good enough for me. I've made him miserable for years, and instead of taking it out on him, I chose to hurt a woman and her child. He moved to his parents' house, and now he's renting an apartment. I have heard that he travels the weeks he doesn't have the children to be with her, and that she's moving here soon, when she gets full custody of her child. I have not been feeling well at all. He has never spoken to me directly since he left, and I haven't seen him. He adamantly refuses to talk to me, like I never existed in his life. I don't know what I have done to deserve this treatment. I hate that they won. Relevant comments, list and dumbfound. The last 3 years of your marriage were a lie. You know that now. Who he is the person he treated you before his affair partner had to convince him to be good to you. He is not a good person. Do they even really know each other? Like how it is to be around each other on a daily basis. They are genuinely dumb to think the list will stay with 3 kids around, plus handling chores and day-to-day things of life. They have 2 custody battles ahead of them, and divorced on top of it. If he's angry with you the next time you have to see him, ask him why. He got what he wanted. He wanted to be with her, and now he is. So why is he angry that you gave him what you wanted? It's probably shame that he's painted to be a cheater. Not he can't manipulate the narrative and paint you as the bad person. If what they want is each other, let them have each other. They are both awful people, so they deserve each other. He is not angry about the divorce. He is angry I told the husband instead of him, because the husband hurt her and her kid. Dr. Nefarious McFarious. He's not angry BC of that. He always assumed that if you found out he could gaslight you into thinking that it was somehow your fault or not happening, but by you telling the other husband, there was no getting around it. No, he is angry about me putting his AP in danger. He gives 0 fucks about staying in our marriage or not. He only was with me to help raise the children and probably wait for her to get rid of her husband. I am not trying to be dramatic here, But the soon I realize the truth, the better is for me to move on, I think. I want full custody of my children after he went and beat up his mistress's husband within an inch of his life and ended up in jail. Mar 22, 2024. This morning I got a call from my mother-in-law that my husband has been in jail for the past couple of days and only got out this morning, but the charges weren't dropped. Apparently his mistress and her husband had another altercation last weekend and she ended up hurt again. Now I want full custody of my children. He is out, but charges are not dropped, so it will probably lead to some punishment. I don't know if family court would count this in case I want full custody and supervised visits. My mother-in-law was hostile when I told her this, and she's one of the people who have supported me, so I am expecting some pushback. I don't care. Relevant comments, inquiry report. You probably should not have let your MIL in on this idea. Her first reaction is going to be that it will threaten her ability to see the grandkids and her son's ability to be a father. Even if you think she is on your team, have to assume she isn't. Oop, yeah, it was a big mistake. Story 3. I saved the best for the last. New update. I just found out that my dad who has neglected me isn't my bio dad. English and not my language, so I apologies in advance. I am 17, mom 38, dad 40. My parents were young when they got married. My mother is a stay-at-home mom and works part-time while my dad is a software developer. I am the oldest of 4 siblings. I have been treated like the black sheep in the family since I can remember. Birthdays never had any, just a cupcake from my mom, and no presents. I wasn't allowed to have friends over. Christmas was never something I looked for at most. I would get some socks while I had to look at the presents. My dad, aunts, uncles, and grandparents gave my siblings new bikes, latest fashion clothes, phones, game consoles, games, you name it, they got it. The same was for their birthdays, big parties there. Friends and family would show up and shower them with gifts. I was never allowed on family trips and vacations. I was left behind to stay with grandparents who were strict on everything I did, and sometimes they would just call on someone else to pick me up while I was supposed to stay with them. My mom got a part-time job when I was 13, and with that, she would sometimes ask if we could just spend the day together while dad and my siblings wear out, even though it was just to get ice cream. When I was at home, I mostly stayed in my room and studied. It didn't matter how well I did in school or sports, my dad showed no interest. I was able to get some money by tutoring. That, along with I managed to get a part-time job at food court and a grocery store, meant I spent less time at home. Over the years, my mental health got worse and worse because of maintaining good grades, doing well at spots, working 2 part-time jobs. My mom helped me find a therapist who has helped a lot. Yesterday, I came home from work late, tired, and just wanted to go to bed. I opened the door to hear my mom arguing with my dad and aunt about me in the living room. I could hear my aunt saying that I should be grateful, more grateful towards my dad. Then they saw me in the doorway and stopped. My mom and dad looked like they had seen a ghost, while my aunt announced, "And in comes the bastard." I was shocked to hear her say that. I know she did not like me, and mostly ignored me when we were in the same room. But I got angry, and just asked her to repeat what she had said. My dad quickly stopped her, but no, I wanted to know why I should be grateful about. So I asked what was going on. No one said anything for a while. So I asked again, and be grateful about what? Being ignored, neglected, abandoned while my siblings are spoiled and play happy family with dad. As soon as I said dad, my aunt just shouted that I was not his son. I was shocked by what she said, and I asked my dad if it was true. He looked at me and just said, "I am sorry." I didn't know what to say. I looked at my mom and she said nothing. I left to my room and just started crying. Later, my mom found me on the floor shaking and crying. She helped me up and stayed with me until I fell asleep. I woke up this morning and called in sick. I barely left my room today. I just feel like everything I have done to make the man I call dad proud, or just to acknowledge me, has been a waste of life. I wish that I had known years ago. Update. After I put up this post, I had to get out of the house. I went to be alone for a while, and the thoughts of ending things became too hard to ignore. So I called up my best friend, and he picked me up. We went for a drive, and I told him what had happened yesterday. He just listened while I just cried, and told him everything. He knew my father was like this, but not the extended family. I have never seen him so angry before. He had to pull over so he could calm down. I showed him the post and he was silent for a while. After a few minutes, he told me that no matter what, I was his best friend, and he asked it would be okay if he could mobby. He could talk to his parents about me sitting at his place for some time. I said yes. He dropped me off home and we got out of the car. We talked for a bit. Before he left, he gave me a hug and just said whenever I felt alone that I should give him a call. When I entered the house, I ignored everyone. First, I would like to thank everyone for your comments. Though I have not responded, I read through all of them. Not only have they been helpful towards to see things differently, but to do the best to stay strong until I will move out. You are right. This man is not my father, and I will no longer see him like that anymore. I will try and get some answers on why I am being abused. Why after all these years no one told me anything? And the most important for me right now, who is my real bio father? Is he alive? Does he know I exist? And to clarify one thing, I have no idea who anyone on my mother's side of the family are, and therefore there's no contact with them. My 18th birthday is in the end of the summer, and I will be moving out that day or even sooner if I have the opportunity to do so. Relevant comments. Funny Rain 3930. So sorry to hear that. Can't imagine what you've been or are going through. You do seem like a good kid. Your whole life is ahead of you. I'm sure good things await. You'll come out of this stronger and wiser. Didn't your mother and her husband tell you anything after you got home? Didn't they try to stop you from going to your friend or at least talk with you about this? Ope. When I left, I didn't say anything. I just texted my mom that I was out and would be back later. When I got home, my mom tried to say something, but I ignored it and went on to my room. She came to check in on me later and asked if I'd like to come down for dinner, but I declined and said I wasn't hungry. She stayed for a while and tried to get me to open up. I just asked why she never told me that he wasn't my father. She didn't answer the question and just said how sorry she was that I had to find out this way, and she left. Update, January 7, 2024. So a lot has happened in these few days, and I am conflicted about many things right now, but I am hopeful that I can start to heal menially. Also, sorry for the long post. On Thursday before I left for work in the grocery store, my father, whom I will refer as K, called out to me, and I responded by saying yes, his first name, and he looked confused because I have always called him Dad before. After a bit of silence, I asked, "What?" quite bluntly. He didn't respond and told me it was nothing, so I went to catch the bus. When I got home late in the evening, my mom wanted to know why I called K by his first name. I told her he never treated me as anything closely as a son, so why should I call him Dad anymore? She had no answer, and she told me he was hurt by it. I wanted to scream when she said that. Yesterday, I had an appointment with my therapist, and I cannot put it into words how much she has helped me over the years. And later, my best friend called me to let me know that I could stay with them if I wanted. So this morning when I woke up, my mom was already awake and making breakfast. I asked her if we could talk alone today, and it was important. She agreed to talk after breakfast because Kay had to go to work shortly after. After Kay left, she told my siblings to not enter the kitchen for a while. I am paraphrasing a bit because it was a long conversation. We sat down and I found it hard to get the words out at first, but I told my mom that I can't get over the fact that for all these years, how I have been treated and neglected by Kay and his side of the family, and she watched it happen, and I need to know why. At first, she tried to dodge the question and gave the same answer as always, but I didn't give in and told her that this was important to me. And again, she tried to dodge it, so I told her that I can't do this anymore. So I was going to pack up some of my stuff and move out. And not until she was ready to tell me the things I needed to hear, we would not be on speaking terms. She started to tear up and just told me how sorry she was, and kept on saying, "I am so sorry," over and over. It hurt me in that moment to see my mom cry, and I tried my hardest to keep my emotions in, and I asked her again why. After some time, when she calmed down, she told me what happened. When she was 20, and in university, she had a boyfriend whom she had been with for 3 years. They shared an apartment along with his best friend. They were out clubbing when they had an argument because she wanted to stay, but her boyfriend wanted to go home and he left. Both her and the best friend were really drunk, and she cheated on her boyfriend with his best friend in the club. The next day, she woke up and realized what she had done. So after a few days, she and his best friend confessed about the affair, and her boyfriend broke up with her. Her ex contacted her parents, and he told them what she had done. Her parents called her furious and told her she was not welcome back home and took away her financial support. So she had to move out. She lost a lot of friends and had nowhere to stay. She had to live in her car for some time. When she realized she was pregnant, she didn't know what to do. She went back to the apartment to find out her ex and his friend were no longer lived there. She tried calling and texting them, but they didn't pick up the phone or answered any of her messages. She got a job at a cafe house, and there she met Kay. He was a regular costumer, and they got to know each other. Kay asked her out, and even though she told him she was pregnant, he didn't care at the time. Kay's parents were not happy about the idea that their son was dating a pregnant woman and a cheater, and threatened to cut him out of their lives. Kay got scared and was going to break up with my mom, but she begged him not to and promised to be the perfect wife and have his kids. They made plans to get married soon after I was born. Kay never showed any interest in me when I was born, but my mom lived with the hope that one day he would. After hearing all of that, I didn't know what to say for a while. After thinking for a moment, I asked if she had at any point tried to contact my possible bio father. She said no, and the timeline would place her affair partner to most likely be my bio father, but she can't be 100% sure. I asked her if she ever tried to reconnect with her side of the family. She tried to contact them when she was about to get married, but her parents, siblings, aunts, and uncles didn't want to see her, so she gave up. I asked her why Kay was hurt by me calling him his first name. She told me he has been seeing a therapist for the last 2 years because he has been suffering from depression and guilt. It took me by surprise. She told me that it started when I was 15. I came home after a handball game where we won, and I was awarded man of the match, and I was so happy and exited to tell them about it. She, of course, was happy for me, but Kay just said to put my award with others in my room. I started to cry in front of him and asked, "Why do you hate me?" He didn't reply, and I went into my room and cried all night. After that, he felt sad, like something had stabbed him in the cheeks, and it didn't go away. It only grew. My mom told him to go see a therapist until he relented, and after some time, the therapist got through to him. For the past few years, he has been living with this guilt, and he has been afraid to confront it. So when I called him by his first name, he realized that he had lost me. The next question, I was afraid to ask it, but I asked if he ever abused her. She told me he has never abused her. She told me that Kay has only ever loved her. The only time he ever questioned her about anything was when she was pregnant with my younger brother, and he asked for a paternity test, which she understood. When it came back positive, he apologized, and he didn't ask about my other siblings. The last question, I asked her why I was left with people who abused me physically, menially, and emotionally while they went on trips and vacations. She was shocked to hear about the physical abuse and asked me about it. I told my mom that I never said anything at the time because I was afraid of Kay's family members when it happened. I told her everything I remember, but here is some of the things they did. My grandparents would scold me loudly and hit me when I was younger. My aunt never spoke to me unless she needed a favor, only to then go back to ignoring me and told me to stay in the guest room. When I was 14, my father took the family to a 2-day trip to Croatia. He left me with his older brother. He asked me to go to the store to buy some stuff, and of course I said yes. When I came, he opened the door and took the bags and locked me out of the house. I sat there crying until they had all finished with their dinner, and then he let me in. She cried the whole time while I told her everything. She told me how sorry she was. She knew they didn't like me, but this was just hate. After the conversation, she asked if I was going to move out and where. I told her I was planning on it, and where I will not tell her because I don't want Kay to know where I would be staying. She started to cry again, and again it hurt to see her cry. The conversation was long and lasted for several hours, but these are just the main points. After that, I went to my room to clear my head and think. About an hour later, someone knocked at my door, and I told them to open. It was Kay who opened the door. He asked if he could enter, and I said yes. It was the first time since I can remember he ever entered my bedroom. He looked around for a bit. He looked shelf where I keep all of the awards and trophies from school and sports. He was both surprised and sad when he saw the medals from then. I did track and field and played football. He stopped when he saw the small man of the match award and picked it up. He held it for a while and started to tear up. He put it back and sat down on the bed. Neither of us said anything for a while. I asked if Mom had told him what we had talked about. He was still tearing up and slightly nodded his head. I asked him if he was aware on how I see him. He nodded again and whispered yes. So you know the extent on what our parents and siblings have put me through. He looked me in the eyes and asked, "It was true." I said yes, and he just started full-on crying. After a while, he stood up and hugged me. This was Booth the first time he has ever hugged me and cried in front of me before. I just hugged him back and started to cry. He didn't want to let go, and he said how he was sorry for the pain he put me through, for the years of neglect, for treating me like an outsider, and he begged me not to move out. When he finally let go, he asked to be given a chance. I told him that maybe with time I could forgive him and Mom, but they had to earn it. But I won't forgive his family for the things they had done. Also, for now he was still Kay. He is hurt by it but accepted it. For now I am not moving out, but if things go back to the way it was, I will not hesitate to levy, and he knows it. We are going to see a family therapist together. I will in the future try and reach out to my biological father, but I don't know about my maternal family side. I am on the fence with them. I want to thank you for reading. Slight update. I called my friend and told him what happened. The door will always be open at his place. We have known each other since we started school, and we both play for the same team. I know his parents well, and they are lovely people. I know many of you want me to move out as soon as possible, but I told them I would like to give them this one chance, and that is what I will do for the moment. Honestly, I am not scared that things will just go back to how things have been. I have been saving all of my money since I started working. To those who have been sending virtual hugs, here's a virtual hug back, and thank you. Thank you for all the comments and support. Relevant comments. Ravenly ran. What are they going to do about your stepfather's family's abuse? Are they going to call them out on it? And how does your other siblings treat you? Obviously, with the exception of your sister who seems to love you. OP. Kay and Mom have spoken to my siblings that from now on, His side of the family will not be allowed to visit anymore for the foreseeable future. They were surprised at first, but Kay told them what happened. My brothers didn't know what to say, but my sister got really angry at Kay and Mom. I had a talk with my siblings about how hurt I was with my brother's strained relationship because we were a lot closer. It's like they started seeing me like a roommate rather than a brother some time ago. My sister has always wanted to spend time together and will get really upset if she misses my games. I let them know that I didn't care if they saw his family outside the house, but my brothers let me know that they would rather try and fix our relationship. Update number 2, January 14th, 2024. Firstly, I would like to thank all of you who have messaged on the last post and privately. I would like you to know that I am safe and I am at my friend's house. They are willing to let me stay with them long term. These messages have not only opened my eyes, but also to see my mom and Kay for the people that they truly are. Both of them do not love me and do not care. I have had people telling me their stories of childhood abuse and neglect and how they got out. Every time I have tried to talk to Mom and Kay about the abuse, tried asking my mom how she can happily levy me behind, not done anything about it, they have tried to avoided the questions and love bomb me instead and saying that things will change. What really got me was this morning, I got a message asking how my mom never noticed any burses when they picked me up after travels and vacations. That sealed the deal for me. There is no way for someone who should supposedly cares for you not to notice. This morning I got ready to levy and packed up my things. It wasn't that much that I was taking with me. When I was ready, I called my friend and asked him to pick me up when he could and call me when he was outside. When my friend called me, and I moved my things out. I let my mom know and Kay know that I will be moving out. They did not take it well and started to beg me to stay. I told them that I couldn't stay there because it was clear to me that they didn't care about me. Kay got defensive and tried to say that this was my home and I should not levy. I asked him why. For these past 2 years when he was in therapy, he has remained the same. How come, even though I tried my best, I was still treated me like an outsider? He didn't say anything. I asked my mom why she let this go on for years without doing anything to stop it. Again, she didn't say anything. My brothers weren't home, so I went to say goodbye to my sister. It was really hard because she is the only one who has ever treated me with genuine kindness and love. I talked with her a bit, and when I told her that I was going, she looked so sad it was harder than I thought to say goodbye her. When I got to his car, I just broke down. We drove around for a bit before we got to his place. His dad helped me get settled in the guest room. My friend told his parents about the posts. They asked me to tell them everything and I did. They parents talked in private for a bit and then let me know that they would rather I'd stay with them long term than to go back. Again, thank you for everything. New update, life update, March 3rd, 2024. Just want to make an update on how I am doing ever since I left and to clarify things a little. First, yes, I am dyslexic and I don't care. This is not a book report, and I am not getting grades on what I post on Reddit. The grammar police will never find me. Second, this is not my main. My main account is followed by some of my friends and teammates, and I don't want them to know what I am going through. My best friend respects my wishes on not telling others. Now to what has been going on since I left. My best friend and his family have been nothing but wonderful. They have taken me in as their own and showed me nothing but love, kindness, and understanding. I appreciate everything they have done to make me feel safe and loved. I have met with my mom and siblings on a few occasions, but never at my old home or at my friend's house. I have made myself clear that I will never step a foot inside there again, and it took my mom some time to realize that. She stopped asking me to come back after I ignored her for a few weeks. I have switched therapists because I felt like I needed a fresh slate with dealing with all of this. And yes, indeed, therapists are mandatory reporters in my country. I learned that after my first appointment, and he contacted the police and reported my old one. Kay and some of his extended family have tried to reach out via texts, and some have offered their apologies, and others just insults. It's not too hard to think why. Those have been blocked, and to those who apologized, Kay's parents, brother, and his family, I replied with a simple, I accept your apology, but I do not forgive you. That may never happen, and it will be on my terms. For the foreseeable future, do not contact me again. What happens next, I do not know. I am just going to focusing on school, my mental health, and getting a diverse license. Thank you for everything. I truly appreciate every one of you for everything, and big hugs to you all. Relevant comments. Relevant Clerk 7777. Bro, let's be honest. You need to keep distance from your mom. I mean, she knows what they did to you and never try to stop it. She's a selfish woman who chooses her life over her son. OP. The only reason I am in contact with my mom is because I can't meet my siblings without her, and when I turn 18, I become financially independent, and I can block her from interfering with my accounts. She has never done that in the past, but I don't want to take any chances. Phantom Spider 01. I'm surprised Kay's brother and his parents apologized. OP. I made a police report the day after I moved, and my new therapist also reported them. So I think it's just to try and save face. Top comment. Quent Hand. It's Kay's fault for marrying a pregnant lady with a child that wasn't his, and knowing he wouldn't see him as his own, and your mom's fault for allowing him to be indifferent and not protecting you from his abuse.